Good morning once again, and thank you so much for joining in today's webinar. So yeah, just to start off, our agenda for today, we will be looking at what's new on Caseware mSCOA. So we'll start off with an overview for the release that we did a few weeks back. Then after that, we will go into detail of what exactly changed within the software. We are going to have a session for question and answers, dedicated time for question, and we will respond to those answers. We are hoping to finish at 11. So please do journey with us as we get through the session. Should you have any questions during the webinar, please do pop them in the chat. One of our colleagues will be on the lookout in order to respond to those. All attendees are on mute, but if you require at any point our attention, please do make use of the chat functionality, and we will be on the lookout for that. So my name is Michael. I am the product manager at Caseware. What that essentially means is I take care of your needs, making sure that the software does what we say it has to do, and any challenges that you might come across, I am your point of contact through our support team as well. I am not alone. Joining me today is Stefan, whom I think you are familiar with, but there was a bit of a change in roles. Stefan is now more on the content creation side for the range of our software. And joining us again, not on camera, is Tsepiso Shabalala. He is our product owner, meaning he is responsible for the content that gets created or developed within the software. He is the one who will be in charge of any questions that you might have in the background. So now just a starting point for today's webinar will be the release notes for this particular release that we are talking about, which is 2024-1301. I just want to point us towards the chat functionality. I have posted a link to our Caseware Success community. So in there, within that link, it will take you through the release page wherein you can find the release notes. The page that you will see will be exactly the same like the one that you see on screen. And when you scroll down, you will be able to see the release contents as well as the details that we will be covering within this section. So I'm going to minimize for that for now. And take us through the summary of what changed. So the first part is the MFMA Budget Circular number 126 that was issued. So that it essentially dictated or gave reference to what the changes are going to be within the software. The first part was the mSCOA version 6.9. So that outlined the changes that we had to make, which involved 295 new mapping and grouping codes. We had 192 changes to existing mapping numbers. And then secondly, we updated the MBR, 6 MBRR case view schedules That includes Schedule A, B, C, D, and E and F. Then for the A1S new version, there are some data string improvements that we did there. Then when we get further to the mSCOA specimen alignment, the first one, we looked at the statement of financial position. We added 15 new line items, removed 4, and we renamed 6 line items. And again, the details of these are there on the release notes, but we will be covering them directly in the software during the demo. The second part is the statement of financial performance. So within the statement of financial performance, we added 6 new line items. Then when we get to the statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts, we updated the income statement, and we also automated the balance sheet version A1 and version A6. The next part was the reportable segments, which we aligned to the specimen. And then as far as accounting policies are concerned, we updated 4 sections. And then lastly, on the notes to the financial statements, we added 20 new notes and we updated 11 existing notes. So now again, just to point us back to the release notes, if you look at the link that I posted on the chat, you will get a detail of what those new line items are that were added, which ones were removed, which ones were renamed, and on the statement of financial performance as well. Scrolling down, you can see all the details of the relevant sections that were changed, added, or removed are included, as well as on the MBRR schedule. All the details are included. And just to note that this release is based on Caseware Working Papers 2024-00164. Right. So during the demo, we will be taking you through how do you check that you are on the correct version of Caseware Working Papers, as well as the changes that were made. So to take us through the demo, Stefan will be taking us through that, and I will be handing over to him. Stefan, over to you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you. Sorry, just we've got some feedback here. Apologies for that. We had unforeseen feedback that we picked up on our presentation here. Apologies for that. Okay, great. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for that introduction. Just a quick correction. Sorry, there was just a typo on the presentation. It's circular 129, not 126. That was just a typo on our side. Apologies for that. But we did consider 129, just to make sure that just for that we on the same page. Great. Let's start off with what Michael have spoken, is to say, listen, I'm just going to get to my laptop, is We are released this update on version Caseware Working Papers 2024-164, and the version of the software is named mSCOA 2024-1301, including section 71 2025_1 EV. So this is just always a good sanity check for yourself. If you want to make sure that you've got the latest version, just check on your Caseware working papers. Under your help, you can see the Caseware version, and under templates, you can see the mSCOA version. Remember, this software is distributed via that community page that Michael has shown us, where the release documents is. You would log into that community page and then get access to your software, where you would be able to download your software under your name, under My Software, and from there you are able to download your software. Okay, launch download, and that will download both these two versions of software that you would need in order to use this update. Just again, Caseware Working Papers 2024. After you've downloaded and installed the software, you would have Caseware Working Papers 2024, and you will have the mSCOA 2024-1301 installed on your workstation. Then what will happen is you will go to your existing file and you will open up your existing file. It could tell you that you need to convert from Caseware Working Papers 2023 to Caseware Working Papers 2024. That's just a conversion of the application. It's not yet the content update that we are addressing in this file, but now I'm just opening up and my previous or my current file, and it will at this point after the conversion give me an update screen which will guide me to do the content update to this product. You can see here a screen has popped up that says the mSCOA update, and here you will always have two options, either a full replace, which is really only when you start like fresh, or we would always recommend a second option, which will then add the latest content to your existing file. Again, a great benefit that Caseware have is that Caseware, you don't need to start afresh with the new reporting file. You can update your existing reporting file with the content changes that was distributed via the template update that you downloaded from our community page, but just making sure that you've got the right software installed on your workstation. So at this point, you would see that you are not allowed to will continue with the update unless you've confirmed that you've made a backup. And so please, at this point, just make a backup before the update, that you have a file before and after the update, and then you can run the update. It also just means, and we get this question often, users are not concerned to make an update, so they can opt out. You can see here I've opted out the update, cancelled. My version of my file has not changed. It's still on a 2023-1301 version. I've opted out, but I want to opt in and do the update again. I can just click on this button that says check for updates, and it will bring back the update. Or if you close down the file and open up the file, it will also pop up this update screen, and then you can do the update. You are also, if you want to test the update, you are more than willing to do that. All that you do, make a backup and move that backup somewhere else, run this update on that backup, and then you can actually test the update not on a backup, not in your live file. If you just want to sort of run a test, you are all more than welcome to do that as well. Okay, but the long and short is that if you want to add the content, select the second option, make a backup, and run the update. Okay, I'm not going to run an update now. I've already done an update. I'm just going to jump to that file where I've already updated. And this is a file where we have already done an update to an existing file. You would see after the update, the version has changed to 2024-1301. Remember that this is not this version number is not indicative of the financial year. It's more an indication that this content update is developed on Caseware version 2024, and then there's subversions of the Caseware version. So that's just what that 2024 mean. 13 means that this is the mSCOA product identifier, and then M1 means that this is the first update of the mSCOA product that has been developed on Caseware Working Papers 2024. We could, if there's a requirement for another update, then this version number at the end will increment, and that will show that you are, and that will, indicate then the increment content updates for this specific product. Okay. I'm first going to just take you through, remember Caseware, you will have created the file based on the latest mSCOA product. You will have defined the engagement properties, which is the year end of the file, the name of your entity. Then after you've set up the file, the next step is always, and this is not after setup or after now the update, is to import your data. And we've got to import the data strings by default. We have developed this product to import the data strings that you submit to National Treasury as a source, as a trial balance in essence for this product. And all that you need to do, you can just browse to those data strings, select them, and import them into this product. This is the one area that we changed. You would have noticed on 129, updated version of the A1S data string has been published by Treasury. So we just updated also our A1S import just to take that new data string. Okay. After the update, you are, I'm going to first just go through the schedules, and then I'm going to go through the financial statements. In Caseware, both these products, I'm just going to go down that file, both these products are included in this mSCOA template. Schedule A, B, C, D, E, and F is our one product range. We refer to that as the MBRR. And then the Specimen Financial Statements is the other product that's also included in the file. Okay, but on the schedules, what we have changed, I'm just jumping to the new schedule, is that you would see that the schedule has a different version because the Schedule A is forward-looking for the budget year. So we've updated to 2025. Then on the changes on the schedule from a high level, not big changes that was brought in by Treasury in version 120, in Circular 129 and version 6.9. The biggest change is in the schedules and in mSCOA is the additional line item for special rating levies. That is now a new line item on your statement of financial performance, or your A4. One other change that we've made to the schedule is the additional new component for A6 inventory that we added, which wasn't there previously. Then thirdly, we updated the SA1, also to accommodate for the special rating levies. Then we also updated the SA2. What is this? The SA2, sorry about that. We updated the SA2, not SA1. Then we updated also the SA3, specifically additional line items under the inventory section for correction of prior period errors. Then we updated the SA25 also for the special rating levies that we needed to add for this type of income statement. This is the monthly income statement. So any income statement would need to be updated with that specific line item. And then we also updated the SA30 in the schedules. There is now a new line item for the VAT control receipts. And then I just want to check. Yeah, those were the major changes that from a reporting point of view we needed to make to Schedule A. That same changes we made to Schedule B, C, and then we also, where it is applicable, made it changes for the entities on D, E, and F. Okay, so I think from a high level, not major changes in the schedules from the prior year. Some improvements that Treasury has made, and which we also enacted on the schedule. Just remember, in our Caseware product, the MBRR schedules, we don't generate. We've rewritten the schedules in our case view report writing technology, and the output of this report write technology is a PDF version that is generated. We don't, so we use the Excel versions that is issued by Treasury as a specification that we use as a basis for the development of the actual schedules in our report writing technology. Okay, so I think that is the schedules. I would, if there's questions, like Michael has indicated, you can just use our chat function. I will pause when there's a question and just take the question. But in the meanwhile, I will just continue. Okay. Just to remind that everything in the mSCOA product is based on the coding structure. This coding structure, we also, and the reports are based on a coding structure. So this coding structure is actually the first thing that we update. And you would see if I just go here, the special rating levies area has been updated based on the item segment. And then the reports uses this coding structure to automate the reports. From the release notes, I just want to go back to the release notes. On the mSCOA, if you want to go to product updates, I just want to mSCOA. Go. On the release notes, you would see that other than the item segment, other than the special rating levies, there was also other mapping numbers or other account segment, item segment codes that was updated. I'm only showing you those that has impact on a high level on reporting, but in a lower level, we needed to update 257 new item codes and change existing item codes, specifically drawing descriptions. We also updated the costing grouping database or the costing segment. There's 3 new costing segments. On the fund segment, we added 21 new fund segments. On the project segments, 6 new project segments. And on the regional segments, 11 new regional segment codes. And we also needed to update the logic that if you import your data strings with the additions on 6.9, it will auto allocate to the relevant reports. Okay, good. Then on the financial statements itself, you can just launch the specimen here, and I'm just already launched the specimen. So what we do on the mSCOA specimen is that we take the latest specimen that was issued by National Treasury, and we make sure that we align to that specimen, and therefore make the relevant changes. Okay, so just give it a moment. Okay. So I'm now on the Specimen Financial Statements. So this is, we've been maintaining this product now for the last 4 years. When the specimen was issued, we took the specimen and we redeveloped the specimen also in our report writing technology, which is Caseware. And as the specimen changes, we also updated the specimen. The specimen, there was a version change in the specimen late last year, towards the end of June and even in July. And a lot of users didn't use that version because it was too late for their reporting processes. But we also now aligned our specimen to that version of the specimen. And that resulted us in adding, as per the release notes, says a lot of new line items. So in the previous version of the specimen, operating lease receivable, income tax receivable, construction contracts and receivables, and even deposits were not separate line items. They were all grouped under a line item named other current assets. So all that we did is that we needed to split out those line items from within the note, place it on the face of the statement of financial position, and then also just make sure that each one of those line items have its own relevant note. So that's the process we did for the current assets and for the non-current assets. A line item that was added here, deferred tax, defined benefit asset, deferred tax asset, the investment in investments in joint ventures, investments in subsidiaries, and also a line item for intercompany parent subsidiary transactions. On the liability side, an update to the defined benefit obligations note. There was a change. There was already existing note there, but it is an update to that note. But we added the income tax payable line item with its note, the deferred tax liability line item with its note, and on the liability side, of the non-current liability side, we added a new line item, long-term trade and other payables, with its note that is also linked to the relevant item segment. Okay. The same trend, and now I'm gonna, this is a bit maybe not so exciting. The same trend we did on the statement of financial position. Added the line item for dividends, need to split out dividends, license and permits, and added the line item as per 6.9 also for special rating levies, and also added a new line item for an updated just a line item for the irrecoverable debts written off, as the detail in the mSCOA item segment has changed, and therefore we also added that change to the note and give you a detailed split now available for the specific line item. Okay. So this is on what we did, but in the mSCOA product, because we have already existing sites that use this product in a live environment, it needs to go through the audit space, and there is sometimes interpretations that is not aligned with, or they aligned with how the specimen has done the presentation and disclosure. And for that, we have also catered for. For example, in the property, plant and equipment note, it is an existing note. We have added these relevant options. You would see in this product is that the mSCOA templates, not just a redo of the specimen. We use technology to take the specimen as basis and then add alternative and options for you to prepare a set of financial statements which you can submit for audit. So we needed to build in a bit of additional logic to help users to do that. On the statement finance, on the PPE note, in the previous mSCOA version, the asset classes were were in columns, and the movements in the reconciliation table were in rows. In the latest specimen, it's now transposed. The asset classes is in rows because it's just getting the asset classes. If you want to do a breakdown on asset classes, it's just getting unreadable to put it in columns, whereas the different reconciliation items is easily fitted into columns, and that's also the way that the specimen works. So we've done that as well. However, we also added here a technology that allows you to allocate your expenditure, or no, your capital expenditure that is allocated to your item segment for construction work in progress. That is a separate range in the item segment from your property, plant and equipment range. So we added an option here that you can, by populating, you can manually populate these values in this table, and it will allocate that expenditure from your from that range separately into the specific area you want to take that construction work in progress, and it will allocate it for you to that specific area. So I just want to, you can see here now in this context is that I had the reconciliation difference because the sum of the PPE plus the construction work in progress is the total of your property, plant and equipment in your financial statements. The problem with the capital work in progress, the allocation to which asset class it needs to go to is sometimes a challenge. And we've created this table here at the bottom that can just help you to manually allocate that expenditure to a specific line for the property, plant and equipment. Okay. Then we also updated the PPE note with the relevant changes that is in the specimen. You would also see if there is, and I would just want to show you, if you use this product and there's a layout in a specific area in the financial statements which you don't like and you feel you want to change, be on the lookout for this icons here. There's two ways that we give you alternates. It's using this this icon here. If you click on it, it will launch a dialog that launches our alternate content dialog, which you can select and select an alternate layout for this specific area that suit your requirements. It just sometimes takes a while for this dialog just to appear. Just give it a moment. Always an issue if you want to demo something like this in a live. It always just takes much longer than you hope, but just give it a moment. There you go. Then you can select the alternate dialog and it will give you an alternate. Okay. So that's the one thing of this product that you can be on the lookout for, but also be on the lookout for there is also additional options on a radio button that gives you some additional options. For example, in the PPE note, we have an option that you can show the lease assets as part of the relevant asset. So in the item segment, there is lease assets are identified for each one of the asset classes. So then you can show it as part of that specific asset class. Or we have an option to use the logic and the detail logic in the item segment to strip out those leases that is part of each one of the asset classes and show it as a separate asset class within this note there under lease assets. So you can see in this PPE note, there are the two options: alternate layout. We have still the layout if you want to take the assets as rows, or the asset classes as rows, and the asset classes as columns, and the movement as rows, or you can switch to this default option, which is more aligned to the latest specimen, where the asset classes are rows and the movements are in columns. But also be on the lookout for these radio buttons. The reason why I'm showing that is that, for example, we at the latest specimen, we added a new line item for VAT receivable. So you can see that the VAT receivable based on the item segment are now showed as a separate line item with its note. However, there are users that say no, they don't want to show the VAT receivable separate anymore. They want to show the VAT receivable as a component in the trade and other receivables from exchange transactions note. Then there's an option that you can switch it to that option. What it will do magic. It will remove the VAT receivable line item from the statement of financial position. And if you jump to the trade and other receivables note, if you go to the trade and other trade services and consumer debtor sections, then those VAT line items that is directly from your item segment are then shown separately. Unfortunately, if you don't use this data correctly here, maybe there's a misallocation of your data in the context of the input accrual or the input VAT capital, then you need to correct that with a relevant journal entry. Okay. Because we just, from an automation point of view, pick up the values as presented in the item segment. And if this values needs to be regrouped or reassessed and set it off from these line items, you would then need to do a journal entry just to group it together. Okay. The same applies to another feature that we built in is in relation to the defined benefit asset. We do have a separate note for defined benefit asset, but on consideration, you can see that we do all indicate we've added alternate, and we do sort of say that this option is not part of the specimen. However, it is an option that the users have requested us because that gives them a better presentation and disclosure for their entity, which is allowed by the standard, and then they will select this option. So on the, I'm just going to go back to the defined benefit obligations. The defined benefit obligation section we updated, but also needed to cater for the defined benefit asset, and which is then a separate note. However, users would like to say, listen, we don't want to show the defined benefit asset as a separate in a separate note. We can show it on the statement of financial position, but we want to include the defined benefit asset as part of a component in the defined benefit plan note, and then I can just select the option that will reallocate it like such. Okay, you can see it's just taking a while, and then it has now grouped the defined benefit asset from its own note to be included in the defined benefit plan note, which then covers both the asset and the obligation. Okay, so be on the lookout for these things. You can see there's different options. There's even an option where to show the employee benefits and note instead of the defined benefit plan note. Okay, so those are options that other than now just adding the line item, we engage with clients, we look at our clients currently use the product, and then also build in logic to give them alternates in order to align with their presentation and disclosure requirements. Okay, on the so in that sense, you can see we've in a very quick few minutes covered all the additional line items that was added, because they are a bit intertwined, but you can see that they are all included here. I'm going to jump now just quickly to the statement of financial performance. Very similar, added additional line items for interest, dividends, as I mentioned. I just want to check here if there's something specifically I want to highlight. I've already highlighted the change in the details regarding the irrecoverable debts written off. In the previous version, only one sort of line item for irrecoverable debts. In 6.9, it's split it down in more detail, and therefore we updated the note as well. Okay. I'm going to jump now to the statement of budget comparison, statement of budget and actual amounts, comparison of statement of comparison of budget and actual amounts. And in the previous version, we already had this feature where, you know, in the understanding of the logic of the entity is that what is your approved budget? I think with the schedules being such a complex budget document, either the A1 sum or the A4, for example, is used as the official approved portion in the budget document. GRAP 24 requires you to say, listen, you need to do a comparison between your budget amount and your actual amount in a context of your approved budget. And I think there's a debate on whether or not the A4 is the approved portion or the A1 sum is the approved portion. What we have done is that we've given you both options. You can just toggle between the two, and which will then just give you that layout as well. Then that was in the previous version. In this new version of the specimen, we've extended this logic to the statement of financial position portion in the statement, where either you can compare your A1 sum as your budget comparison area, or you can go to your A6 as your budget comparison area, because both are included in your Schedule A. Similarly to the cash flow is also an addition that we've made here. It's very easy to show, but you can appreciate it's a hell of a thing to develop. It's the same applies. Only you can do A1 sum, or you can flip and to do your A6 comparison on your statement of comparative of budget and actual amounts. Okay. So that is a massive change that we've also done. If I jump to the reportable segment note, in the new specimen, the type of segments that is now set there as an example has been updated to refer to the water, wastewater management, and then an unallocated area to show the focus of the segments to be your services. However, some municipalities, if we use the basis of the function as the basis to define your reportable segment. And what we've done here is that we've given you more flexibility to define which of the functions will be included in your reportable segment. We cater for like 4 specific reportable segment plus an allocated segment, and you can actually define the name. Let's say this economic development. You can define the name, and based on your item segment, you can include and exclude based on your function segment, which must be the 2 coordinates that you want to group together for this segmental report, which is then a coordinate of taking your item segment and then grouping it to the relevant selected function segment, and that will then be presented separately in this column as your segmental reporting. I think this is a very nice improvement. We also give you the option, you can see there's a slick jump to the note. So what we've done is that in the specimen, Treasury makes the reportable segment as a separate statement. A lot of users don't like that. They would rather have the reportable segment as just a note to the financial statements. So we give you now this table option to present in either a statement or in the note to the financial statements under the segmental information note. But that you would see under the segmental information note, and you can see that we're giving you a lot of options. In the segmental information note option, we give you another type of layout for segmental reporting, where the functions is rows and the type of expenditure is in columns. But if you want to have something similar to the reportable segment note, you can just toggle to your alternate content, and it will bring in that table and that selection options for you in the notes to the financial statements, which also gives you a lot of flexibility. Or you can use this version, because how to present reportable segments, we've realized there's a lot of versions of our clients does it, and we are really trying our best to accommodate everybody, but we've already been giving you a lot of flexibility on how to deal with that. Okay. Another thing that we just did, just gonna jump to it. We updated the new transportations note. We've included the caseware. You can see again, this is additional content and technology that's not in the specimen that we've added to the financial statements, to the specimen, mSCOA specimen. We just update it with the latest changes in the on the new transportations standard that is coming. If we go to, I just want to go to the accounting policies. We also updated just the accounting policies, and it's more like just wording changes that was introduced in the specimen. On the accounting policy side, we try to align to the specimen, but remember, in the Caseware context, is that this is your accounting policies. This is free format text. You can change the accounting policies as you see fit, and just align it to how you want your accounting policies to be written for your municipality. So I just want to quickly check, have I covered everything? There's a lot, so just sorry, bear with me. I try to remember everything. Okay, so I think that's the bulk of the changes that we did in this update. I just want to check in if there is any questions. I don't see any questions, and I also don't see any questions in the chat. Let's give our. I'm at the end of what I want to show you. Let's give it our audience a chance to respond, or maybe post a question or two. But whilst we're waiting, just a reminder that this update, the workflow that will happen is that you should have received an email that you can see here. We correctly referred to in the release notes to Circular 129. It's really just a typo in the presentation. Apologies for that. But you would receive an email notifying you of the release. You will be guided to the Caseware community. In the Caseware community, log into your Caseware community. And if you don't have a login, remember the login is reserved for the Caseware champion that is registered with your entity. And then that Caseware champion will have access to, if you click on its name, to My Software, and then that will take you to your launch download options that you can access the software that you that then will access this update. Okay. Cool. Let's see if there's. I don't see there's any questions. Just a note. We are aware of Circular 130 that was issued by the National Treasury. We assessed that circular, and we don't see it having a much impact from 129, other than the introduction of the new environments data strings. But understanding is that for reporting purposes, the environments would not impact the reporting. It's only for disclosure of your environments that has happened that you need to submit via Circular 130. It's a thing that we saw. But if there's something we missed, please reach out to us. It's still very new, and that was just our current interpretation of the circular. But if we maybe missed it, or there's something that we need to consider, please reach out to us and just let us know. Okay, I don't see any questions with that. Michael, I can give back to you.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Yeah, I do not see any questions. I do not see any questions, but thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. We will be sorry, there is a hand that is raised. Kineilwe, is that a hand or it's let me see, enable mic. Kineilwe, do you perhaps have a question?
Oh, okay. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the presentation, Stephen. My question, Michael, is I just want to find out, is it possible if you have been preparing a financial statement using the GRAP version, and now you want to move or export your file using the mSCOA template? Is that possible? Is it doable? Because I am excited about the presentation today. More especially because I know in my municipality, I'm from Gauteng District Municipality, in the previous audit, we had an issue regarding the VAT disclosure in terms of that new FAQ, which was issued by ASB. And I see now the mSCOA version, it is outlining that disclosure, I think, according to what the AG will be looking for. So that is my question. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that question. Maybe two things. So currently we provide now two products for financial statements to the municipal clients: the GRAP template as well as the mSCOA product. And I think we are seeing the writing is on the wall that the National Treasury actually wants to create uniformity in presentation and disclosure, that everybody, all municipalities, should actually use the format and layout of the mSCOA specimen. However, the mSCOA specimen, on your question, can you just sort of export your GRAP and then take it to the mSCOA specimen? Unfortunately not. The mSCOA specimen is really based on the item or the whole mSCOA segments. So there's a very high automation. If you take your data string and you use that as your trial balance, there's no mapping that happens because the mSCOA specimen is based on the item segment and all the segments in the mSCOA. So what we do recommend users to do is they can either do a parallel run between the two products and to say, listen, this is the way I'm doing my GRAP financial statements. and this is a way I am taking in doing this is an mSCOA version of the same from the same base information, the trial balance in the mSCOA format. So that is a recommendation that we would do. It does mean that you will just need to maintain for a year or so 2 products and until you move over from one product to the other. Or you can take the brave step of just sunsetting or discontinuing your GRAP product and move over to mSCOA completely. That's another option that you can do. But just to get back to your question, it's not just it's the logic that we used in order to align exactly to mSCOA between the GRAP and mSCOA it's really different. In the GRAP mapping database, it's a mapping database that is it's more for general use, where the mSCOA mapping database that we use is purely based on the segments. So I think that's the one portion of it. However, on the GRAP side, we also released an update for the GRAP recently. I think last week the update went out, and in that update we also aligned to the VAT disclosure as per the ASB fact sheet. So I think if your issue is the disclosure for VAT, our GRAP product is also updated to give you the same type of leniency and options that the mSCOA product has regarding VAT presentation and disclosure. However, I think the mSCOA is a bigger story, your financial statements, because you're literally going to change the look and feel of your financial statements in totality to comply with a format that is, and issued by the National Treasury in order for them to create a uniform look and feel between municipalities across South Africa. So but please reach out to our team, our sales team. They can take you through the options that are available to you. I don't think from a cost point of view is that expensive. From a product point of view, I think the one thing that we've realized with users moving over to our mSCOA product, because it's so highly dependent on the correctness of your data strings and of your allocation on your item segment. We have seen users commencing with the mSCOA implementation, pausing it because they need to go through a process to correct the allocations of the segments in their accounting system. And then after they've done that, they will commence with it. But the nice thing about that is, and this is now feedback from existing users using the product, is that now it is just plug and go. You generate your data string, you import it into the mSCOA specimen, and you have a set of financial statements, and it's exactly aligning to the item segment. Okay, so there's a long discussion, but I hope you got the detail of it.
Thank you.